Good afternoon, everybody. My name is James. Today, our topic is the demerits and merits of hip hop and pop. There are two groups of three. In group one, I have Patrick, Leah, and Isaac. In group two, we have Matthew, Ava, and Abby. Isaac, what is it about you like about hip hop so much?
I like hip hop because I really like the different flows that the rappers have and the meaning behind, like, the lyrics and the story they tell.
Matthew, what is that you like so much about pop?
It is fun and it's easy to listen to, and my favourite artist is Ed Sheeran.
Okay. Leah, what is that you dislike about pop?
Personally, I think pop repeats the same lyrics and starts to get annoying.
Ava, what is that you dislike about hip hop?
I think hip-hop is quite violent in the lyrics, and many famous rap artists, for example 21 Savage, tend to almost glorify violent acts in their songs. For example, shootings, gangs, drugs and alcohol.
Matthew, what is your dislikes for hip-hop?
My dislikes are it is fast and it is exciting because it is loud and good to listen to.
Patrick, what are your likes for hip-hop?
Well, I think the stories they tell in hip-hop rap music is very influential to young people, and it can give us a voice to speak out for ourselves. And on Ava's point about rappers being violent, we have to remember that rappers like 21 Savage and Tekashi 6ix9ine were raised in very poor, broken down areas where crime maybe was seen to be glorified, but they're just telling the stories of their own realities, and we can't hate them for wanting to just speak what they've seen in their life.
Okay, so Ava, what do you have to say about that then?
I think they could handle what they've been through very differently, and they don't need to promote bad decisions that they could have made in their childhood.
Okay. Abby, what do you dislike about rapping?
I kind of dislike how it can be really hard to understand sometimes. I usually like being able to sing along and be able to understand the lyrics more easily.
Patrick, how do you think that rap influences young people in our community nowadays?
Well, James, I believe that hip-hop influences our community in quite a positive way. As you can see, it's clearly extremely influential, as you see everyone goes around with skin fades now in Gorey and maybe even the whole of Ireland. And that actually originates from the barbershops in the, African American communities, which is where hip hop originated. So also styles, as in, skinny jeans, sneakers, Air Force Ones, all these Nike shoes, Jordans, all related to the hip hop community as well. So it's extremely influential on young people, even in our society, so far away from where all this originated. It's still, through music, has shaped the way our culture is seen and presented.
Yeah. Ava, how do you think pop influences on young people's community nowadays?
I think fashion in pop has made a big impact for all of us. For example, Billie Eilish wears a lot of big, oversized clothes, and nowadays a lot of teenagers and older people also wear a lot of oversized clothes as well.
Abby, do you think there is a fine line between hip-hop and pop?
No, I don't think there's a fine line, because I think over the years, especially in 2019, there's been many collaborations between pop stars and hip-hop artists. For example, Ed Sheeran has been collaborating with a lot of different hip hop artists.
Isaac, do you think there is a fine line between hip hop and pop?
The gap has never been smaller between hip hop and pop because rappers like Drake and Juice WRLD are making music that pleases hip hop and pop sides.
Okay, well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, and welcome to the Jolly Mary podcast, where you go for joy and merriment, welcoming our guest, Oisin Brennan. Today we will be discussing depression. This is a very important and sensitive topic, and we are going to ask Oisin his first question now. When did you first figure out you were depressed?
Well, thank you for having me on anyway. So, when I first figured out I had depression, well, I kind of isolated myself from everyone, kind of stopped going out with people. Just felt sad all the time, had trouble sleeping, didn't eat well, didn't treat myself well. I went to a counsellor one day when I was feeling really bad, and she said I should go to a proper therapist to see if I actually have it or not. So I did then, eventually, and then, the doctor did say I had it, so... Oh, well, that's it.
So, how did your parents react to this news?
Well, they're very supportive. They knew how it felt because they were talking to me. They said they went through the same thing as I did, so they're very supportive and wanted to help me in any way they could.
So, this might be a hard question to answer, but have you ever had thoughts about suicide and stuff?
Yeah, I have, unfortunately. Probably the worst time in my life, I'd say. It was around this time last year. I was really hating myself. Thought I was useless, really couldn't do anything right. I just felt like it wouldn't go away. I was upstairs one day, lying on my bed and all, well, and then all the thoughts of just ending it all came into my mind, really. Yeah, I was pretty close to doing it at the time, but thank God I kind of stopped and went through it, said, just not sure how would everyone react to it, like my parents, my friends, especially even my dogs especially.
So, how has medication helped you, and have you noticed any of the side effects?
Yeah, medication has helped me. It's kind of lifted my mood, kind of boosted my appetite, so I'm eating stuff again. Helps me sleep better as well. Now, some of the side effects are fatigue, dry mouth, nausea, blurred vision. I don't really get that too much anymore.
And what other things do you do to lift the mood?
I do a few things. Now, I really like drawing. Really helps me relax, and meditation. Getting quite good at it as well because I've just been doing it all every day really now. I also do a lot of cycling. It's quite relaxing too. A bit of exercise really does help. And well, I don't go near the drugs or alcohol. I think that's a great way not to do it anyway. And also meditation. Just I'm not feeling the best either.
So, what type of things would you say worsen your depression and stuff and make you feel worse?
When I'm just when I'm sitting there alone, alone sometimes, kind of just comes back. I'm trying to get out of my head, just go off, do something. Well, if I'm not doing anything, sitting there doing nothing, kind of just comes back. Say now, if I took it, I wouldn't go near alcohol and all. Now that wouldn't help me either, I'd say.
So now we'll go on to a little section on random facts, since we've run out of stuff to say about depression from what I can tell, unless you have any questions.
Not at the moment, no.
All right, then. Also, do you have anything else you would like to say about it?
Well, I'd say now, if anyone is suffering from depression and no, they haven't told anyone, say it. It really helps. Get the word out. get help. So don't hide it. People say for men, sure, they have to man up, suck it up. Some people can't. You have to tell someone. So that's really it.
All right, then. Do you have any numbers and stuff they can call?
I would suggest Mental Health Ireland. It's on 01 284 1166, or the Samaritans, which is 1850 609 090.
So after this, we'll do, I guess right now actually, we'll do a little segment on facts and stuff about mental health and how our brain works and things. For example, dopamine, which is a chemical largely associated with happiness and joy, is heavily associated with addiction. And having too much of it can actually cause schizophrenia. And having too little of it, surprisingly enough, causes Parkinson's. And things like that. So your brain's chemical balance is very important. There's no chemical that having a lot of it is good. There's no chemical that having none of it is good as well. So I'll let you also give a little fact about depression and stuff.
Well, thank you. That was kind of a bit mind-hurting, but anyway. Well, the World Health Organization says that over 300 million people suffer from depression worldwide, and it's the leading cause of disability. Also, 80% of all people with depression can be treated well, but roughly around 80% of people don't actually go to get treatment.
All right, so this will be finishing off this podcast, and a final note of, if you feel like you might have depression, ask your doctor and stuff. Don't just ignore it and stuff and move on with your day. Make sure you talk to someone about it and get proper diagnosis if you do. And so have a nice day for everyone and people with depression, and just keep on going on.
Hi everyone, my name's Mia and welcome to our brand new podcast.
I'm Quiva and today we'll be discussing our top film picks for Halloween. We are joined today by our guests Tig, Shauna, Enda and Niall.
So Tig, tell us about the Joker.
So the main character in Joker is called Arthur Fleck, and he's played by Joaquin Phoenix. And he's a wannabe stand-up comic who suffers from many mental illnesses, including one which causes him to laugh uncontrollably when he is nervous and often gets him into bad situations. Arthur's mental health causes almost all people in society to reject and look down upon him, even though all he wants is to be accepted by others. After being brutally beaten, having his medication cut off, Arthur's life begins to spiral downward out of control into delusions, violence and anarchy, until he eventually transforms into Gotham's infamous clown prince of crime.
So would you recommend Joker?
I would highly recommend this movie to everyone that would like to experience a deeply thought-provoking film.
Now we're going over to Shauna and Niall to talk about the movie Get Out. So Shauna, tell us about the movie.
Get Out is a thriller about an African-American man who visits his white girlfriend's parents for the first time. As the weekend goes on, a sinister secret is revealed about the family.
Yeah, me and Shauna definitely recommend this film. It's definitely one of the most original movies we've ever seen, and it's got a bit of everything. It's got comedy, it's got action, it's got satire. It's not too scary also, and it's not too long either. I think it's only about an hour and a half, so it's an easy watch, and it's on Netflix as well.
So the genre is a psychological thriller. Could you explain this?
It kind of messes with your mind a bit, and it brings up racism and everything as well.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Coraline. It's about Coraline, who moves to a new house where her parents are basically kind of neglecting her, as they're both working tough jobs. Anyway, she goes around kind of exploring her new home, and during the night she finds a secret passageway leading to a new world, which basically it's her world, but everything seems better. There she meets her other parents, who are essentially just parents like similar to her, is just better in every way. Coraline's other mother invites her to stay forever. However, she has to sew buttons onto her eyes, which is kind of the main reason why she doesn't want to do this. So that's basically it, and it leads on to how she escapes the other mother. Another. So now we're talking about is it suitable for kids? As I've heard a lot of people have been quite scared of the movie, like growing up when they watch it. So I think Tyg's going to have a quick word here.
Yeah, I was one of those kids. I was absolutely terrified. I was terrified of Coraline when I was a child, and I haven't revisited the movie to face my fears of the buttons, of the buttons on my eyes, and does anybody else?
I definitely agree with Ty. It's one of the scariest kids' movies I've ever seen.
It's the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I think the consensus is it's pretty scary for a young audience. So it is rated PG. Yeah. Wrongfully, according to Tyg, who was scarred when he's younger. So what else? Also, the music in it is composed by Danny Elfman. If you don't know who he is, he composed The Simpsons, so he's quite famous.
Now we're going to wrap up our podcast with a top 5 Halloween movies. So my pick is definitely The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I recommend Ghostbusters.
It's not really a Halloween movie, but I love Prisoners. It's a really good movie.
Hotel Transylvania is a must-see.
I'm going to have to say I was scarred after Coraline, so the scariest I've done is Hotel Transylvania.
And I'll add a 6th one here, Corpse Bride by Tim Burton. So thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Yeasabix podcast. Today we are talking about ghosts and paranormal activities. We are joined by our special guest, Mate, and many more.
Hi.
Oh, that sounds so bad.
Hi. Hello. Hello.
Hi. So, Dean, what's a ghost?
In folklore, a ghost is the soul of spirit. Oh.
Do retake.
In folklore, a ghost is the soul or spirit of a dead person.
That's interesting. I don't doubt their existence.
I don't believe in ghosts.
I actually do believe in them because of many reasons. Like around us in Wexford, there's a Loftus Hall that is located in the Hook Peninsula in, County Wexford. Because it's actually like it's said to be like haunted by a devil and a young lady, and like this happened because way back in the 17th century when like a man on a horse went over to the house because seeking shelter like late at night, and like the totem family was living there at first, like at that time, and they invited him inside for a few days, for shelter because like he was lost. And there was a girl there called Anna Tottenham who was actually really interested in him, I don't even know why, but like it happened. And then a couple days in when he was living there, they were both playing a game together of cards, and then Anna accidentally dropped down a card on the ground, and she went to pick it up. But of course, cannot be a horror story without it. She found out that he didn't have one of his legs, and she screamed immediately. She screamed and she ran away. Like she pushed him out, and like he immediately he vanished into thin air, leaving a brimstone smell behind. A priest went and tried to exorcise her, ghost, but he couldn't do it, so she still haunts the house to this day. That is my reason for thinking that ghosts are real, since people do go and tour there, and multiple cases have been said, or even shown with proof, with pictures of people, pictures of the girl in windows.
So, does anyone else have any stories?
I have an interesting one of a very popular doll. His name is Robert, and he was owned by a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto. He got the doll from his grandfather as a birthday present, and he owns the doll all through his adult life. People around him used to say that Oton had a very strange obsession with the doll, that he used to always bring him everywhere with him and even speak about him in first person, like address him as he wasn't a doll. And there was a legend saying that Oton used to always blame the mishaps on the dolls, everyone just thought like, oh, he's just his imagination. And then After Oton died, a lady called Myrtle took over his house, and he was a new caretaker for Robert. And the visitors of the house used to say that they used to hear footsteps upstairs in the attic, and used to hear like children giggling. And then after a few years, Myrtle donated him to a very popular museum that's in Florida. And even today, there's a lot of visitors coming to see him, and people even brings like gifts and everything to him, and he even gets letters and everything, which is a very lucky man to have. And even even today, when you take a picture of him, you have to ask for his permission to take his picture, because if you don't, he can cause things. He's known to cause very bad luck to the people, such as car accidents, job loss, divorce, and even death. So, yeah.
Wow.
I have this one story called the Cellphone. The story goes, a couple of months ago, my friend's cousin, a single mother, bought a new cell phone. After a long day of work, she came home, placed her phone on the counter, and went to watch TV. Her son came to her and asked if he could play with her new phone. She told him not to call anyone or mess with the text messages, and he agreed. At around 11:20, she was drowsy, so she decided to take her son to bed. She walked to his room and saw that he wasn't there. She then ran over to her room to find him sleeping on her bed with the phone in his hand. Relieved, she picked her phone back up from his hand to inspect it. Browsing through it, she noticed only minor changes, such as a new background, banner, etc. But then she opened up her saved pictures. She began deleting the pictures he had taken until only one new picture remained. When she first saw it, she was in disbelief. It was her son sleeping on her bed, but the picture was taken by someone else above him, and it showed the left half of an elderly woman's face. What's everyone's opinion on the story?
It's very creepy.
I think it's very spooky.
Very scary.
Yeah, that's very freaky.
I think they're all fake.
Do you want to prove your theory there?
Yes, I can bring Stephen Hawking from the dead so he can say it.
Low-frequency sounds that you don't consciously hear, but your ears says they can have a negative effect on people because the brain is receiving sensory input without your conscious mind understanding, and you don't know where it's coming from. This wreaks havoc with people's emotions, especially in old-looking, dark and gloomy buildings. A researcher was convinced that he was onto something, so he did an experiment in a haunted abbey. The cellar of the abbey was haunted according to locals. According to them, when someone steps into the cellar, they would freeze up, see strange grey ghosts, and have to leave because of nausea. The researcher discovered that the shape of the cellar and the hallway leading to it created perfect resonating chamber. Nearby factories all contributed in making the sound. The vibrations created were exactly 18.9 Hz and were most powerful at the threshold of the cellar, where most people became sick and terrified. Volcanoes, earthquakes, strong ocean waves, and even winds hitting the hillside in just the right spot can create infrasound. Even animals can create it, and tigers are particularly well known as a source. The frequency of a tiger's roar is around 18 Hz, right in that range we mentioned earlier.
Get him off the set. So that's it, folks.
Yeet-a-bix. Yeet-a-bix. Yeet.
Yeet-a-bix.